Are you looking to raise capital? Investors reject 90% of startups due to bad financials, and I refuse to let you be one of them. So investors, VCs, private equity, angel investors, they all demand the same thing. They want clean, accurate financials, and most founders, are not financial experts. That's why we built Startup Funding VC Financials. It's a simple, automated way to be able to create investor-ready financials that'll give you a 3-year pro forma and expert-ready VC standard financials. So let's be very clear. This tool is built for founders, not accountants, not people that work in finance. There are no spreadsheets, no complex formulas, just clean, dynamic reporting that investors can trust. You'll see once you know. So let's walk through how it works. You'll enter in your key business assumptions across 5 input tabs. Those are the yellow ones down here. And then the tool will automatically generate VC ready reports for you. So starting with the Start Here tab. This is where you'll enter basic business details like what you call your customers, fiscal year timing, and industry. These inputs automatically flow into your reports and keep everything aligned. So a little bit of example of the dynamic capabilities, right? You have to be able to determine all of your costs, and COGS is one of them, right? The cost to be able to produce the goods, but that will depend on what industry that you're in. We've automated that for you. You don't have to think about it. If you're manufacturing or production business, you click that there, and all of your report tabs are going to update. So you're making sure that you're tracking the correct expenses in the right categories, right? This tab also has your scenarios where you could show the VCs, hey, you know what, I thought about being conservative, in the worst case scenario, and also aggressive as well too, right? Our aspirations and our targets. And then you have different types of revenue that are broken out into 1, 2, and then a profit splitting right here. So you could determine the top 2, and then if you have a profit splitting, you either can use this or ignore this, and we'll show you what that is on the next couple tabs. So next is the Rev, COGS, CAC planning tab. Here's where we define your revenue, your cost of goods sold, customer acquisition costs, and this is where a lot of the core KPIs that are going to be on your report tabs, this is where they're calculated from. Things like LTV and CAC and cash runway are all calculated dynamically. But don't worry about any of those formulas, any of that shorthand. At the bottom of each tab, there are always going to be a Q&A section to be able to cover, any fundamental P&L on this tab. So you have your customers, you have your revenue here, here's your revenue 1, your revenue 2, and then your profit splitting. And then the next thing on a P&L is going to be your cost of goods sold, which we could take you through those, and then your operating expenses. And then here's the calculations at the bottom that I mentioned, right? You don't have to do anything. It'll calculate it for you once you input those yellow cells. Next is the OpEx planning tab. This is where you outline non-production expenses like software tools, marketing, and office costs. And this ensures investors see that you've accounted for everything in your financial plan. So if you know the vendor that you're going to work with for a certain categorical spend, or technology infrastructure, or if you even have, customer support, a call center, any kind of legal administrative, and you have the vendor that you're going to put into here, you could use this as a tool once you start your business and you get your funding to be able to have versus budget performance, right? It's just another plus that we have. And then down here, if you don't know the vendors for a particular line item, we created this section so you can make a high level assumption and to be frank, level of detail that all the other tools out there are going to be providing you, right? They're not going to give you the capability to input by the vendors, and we're doing that for you here. Next is the internal headcount planning tool. This is where you'll enter team salaries, your hiring plan, the benefit cost, and this impacts your financials dynamically. So hiring today versus hiring in 6 months is automatically reflected in your financials, and that's something unique that we do at Finance Blueprints, right? And here's just a quick example of that. If we have a CEO for 250,000, right, they're not going to be starting here. They're going to start in Q1, but that's going to impact, right, the total annual salary here. Right, it's not 250,000. It's 187 because we're only starting 3 months out of the year. Right, you can plug in your benefits and your merit right here. So what did you put for merit? We got you covered. Scroll down here. We'll give you high and a low end. You can make your assumption, and you're going to be able to explain why you have that assumption that's in there. This last tab is the VC valuation input tool. You really don't do anything here, especially off of the front, but this is where you'll put in, the amount of funding that you're looking to be able to gain And this will be the output of the work that you're going to do on the previous tabs. And this essentially gives you a point of view from the VC, from the investors, as saying, is it worth it for them, right? If my goal is to get 25% by using this multiple, right? You could learn what the multiples are down here. Is it profitable for me? Is it a good deal? And if it's not, you're going to be better prepared to be able to make those adjustments beforehand, before the VC goes and looks at your financials, right? You're going to be ahead of the game here. So once you've entered in all of your inputs, this tool does the heavy lifting in just a few clicks. You get 3 powerful reports that investors want to see. In order to show you what the report tabs are going to look like once you have that information, I'm actually going to take, one of the companies that are using our tools, and we changed their data a little bit, but we kept it holistic, right? Because they have multiple revenue streams, and we kept the nuts and the bolts in there, but we changed the numbers for you, just so you can see what the output will look like with the visualization tools. So here's the first executive summary tab. And this tab condenses your startup financials into a very easy to read format that you could toggle between conservative, aggressive, and realistic scenarios to stress test your numbers. So here's an example right here, right? You're looking at $4 million in year 1 as a projected aggressive scenario, but what's your conservative scenario, right? In the worst case scenario, right? And let's just make it worst case scenario. What if we perform, 40% under what we say that we're going to do, which is very possible, right? What does that look like? Right? We're still $2 million profitable in year 1 with all of the inputs that we have mapped out, right? And you saw the level of detail with OpEx planning, right? We're hiding this because this is their information, all the revenue cogs and CAC planning, right? All of this detail, all of the headcount planning, and you can be confident that in the most conservative nature, this is where you're going to be by year 3, right? And these are all of the core KPIs. You want to know your cash runway. What is the cost to be able to acquire a customer? What is the churn rate? How often are you losing folks within that year, right? And then it gives you the visualization. So you have your overall financial performance, revenue performance, and so here's some little tidbits for your KPIs. Okay. Your P&L projections, this one goes in, it's quite extensive, right? You may or may not need this for your VC presentation, but why not have it? Why not show them that you've done the work? Okay. You have your revenue on top. This particular company has subscription and add-on revenue. They do have profit sharing, so you can see that here. And then here's all of their cost of goods sold. They're a SaaS company. And then, you back that out to get to your gross profit, your operating expenses. So these are pretty similar across most companies. And then you back out your taxes, you get to your net income, some core KPIs out here. Your cash burn, this is the last report tab, and this helps you understand how long your funding will last. And it is so critical for both the investors and the founders to ensure that you do not run out of cash unexpectedly, right? So this is all based on your base scenario, your cash at the beginning of the month. This comes from your VC valuation. How much money are you looking to gain? And this is the cash coming in, and this is the cash going out. This is your runway, right? So it's imperative. And then on the right side over here, this is your monthly recurring revenue. This is typically for any company that has subscription revenue. So if you have subscription revenue, we can go down here and learn a little bit more about that. And if not, just forget about it. Okay, and there's a mechanism down here to be able to show your monthly schedule, because all of your inputs are annual, but how do you break it out by month? Here's a dynamic way to be able to do that. We automated that for you. Okay, impacts everything. So with our tool, you do not need to be an accountant. You don't need an accounting degree to be able to impress your investors, and you can confidently present a well-structured, automated financial model that proves that you've done your due diligence, so no one questions your numbers. So where can you find some more information? Yeah, Finance Blueprints. We help everybody out with, personal finance, which is just the report tabs, the outputs that you'll get with those tools. Real estate, whether you're looking to be able to get your first investment property, or you have a more complex apartment syndication where you're looking to raise multiple rounds and you have different sources of funding. That's going to be live in Q3, and then we're just launching our startups right now. So any questions, check out the website, and we appreciate you checking out Finance Blueprints. Thanks so much.